Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to upload your app to Apple's App Store. So what I'm really excited about today is you've just went through all the pieces when it comes to creating your build for Apple and Android, your IPA and APK files, and hopefully you just watched the video on how to upload to Google and how to create your privacy policy, because in that video, I go through something really important, which is creating your privacy policy. And also when it comes to uploading to Google, I go over your app description, your app short name, all these sorts of pieces when it comes to actually uploading your app, as well as the app name itself, and how best to go about that. So if you haven't already watched that video, make sure you go ahead and watch it, about uploading your app to Google and getting that done. Though, when it comes to uploading to Apple, this is super nice and easy, and once again, I'm just going to be following the guides that I've kind of laid out here. But basically, all we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start by going over to appstoreconnect.apple.com/apps. And when we get there, this will probably be blank. I've uploaded a couple of different apps over the years. My only 22 apps app is the 22 apps app right now, but we're gonna upload another one right here, right now. And to do that, you come up to the top left and you're gonna click this little plus button, and you're going to click New App. And then you're going to choose which platform you want it to go on. So you're going to select iOS, and you can name your app right here. So I'm just going to copy the name of the app we've been using, just like that. And then the primary language is going to be English. We'll do English US. And then the bundle ID should be the only bundle there. So this is where you're going to select your bundle ID, but basically because of what we did before, this should already be there, and you can just simply select it. Then the SKU is, you can technically name this whatever you want, but the easiest thing to do is simply to title it the name of your app. So as you can see here, where it says, first click New App, ensure you've got the correct bundle ID, which we selected, and then it says, note, we recommend making the SKU the same name as your app's name without any spaces, or something easy to remember and identify. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this and put Ace Results Companion without any spaces. And then we want to make sure we give full access to ourselves when we're editing our app. So we'll go ahead and click Create. And that's creating, which is awesome. And now we've loaded into where we're going to be able to come in and make changes and edit our app. So the first thing you're going to want to do right up front, before you begin editing any of this stuff, is come over to Test Flight. And I'm actually going to show you something which is kind of nice that Apple does. If I click Submit for Review, it actually shows you all of the details that you have yet to input into that you have yet to input into Apple's system. So if you ever click Submit for Review, it'll show you everything that you have not done that you still need to do before you submit for review, which is kind of nice. So that's a good little technique, hack, whatever you want to call it, to make sure you're on the right path. So that said, what you want to do first before you do anything else is you want to come over to Test Flight, and you'll see here that there's nothing there. There's no build quite yet for our app, and that's because we still need to upload our app and connect it with Apple's kind of ecosystem, essentially. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to come back over to the publishing article, and you can see here that the next step in everything that we're doing is we need to upload our app to Test Flight, which is what we were on, by using a tool called Transporter. And basically the thing you need to know is that to submit your app to the Apple App Store, you need to have a Mac. So you can't submit an app through Windows directly, but I'm going to show you a couple little techniques to be able to do that. So we normally recommend that, I think it should be somewhere on this page. Yeah, if you don't have a Mac, consider asking a friend with a Mac to support you in uploading your app, maybe by signing into your Apple account and doing this process. Though alternatively, if you don't have somebody you want to call to who has a Mac, or if you simply want to do it yourself, on Windows, there's an awesome free tool. There's an awesome cheap tool called Mac in Cloud, where for $25 a month, you can get access to this service where it lets you run a virtual Mac on your Windows computer. So essentially you can run a Mac on your Windows computer, long story short, which will allow us to upload your app. And that's actually what I'm going to be doing here today, because I don't have a Mac, but I use this service called Mac in Cloud, which is only 25 bucks. And you can just cancel after the first month. It also has a package that's $1 an hour, but we recommend generally going with the $25 a month option, because the $1 an hour package will require you to buy 30 hours up front. So if you're on a Windows computer and don't want to find a friend, you can go to macincloud.com. And as it says here, rent your own Mac by logging in on a Windows computer. So in either case, if you are on Windows, then go ahead and set up your account. And I just have to grab the login details. So I will see you in a quick edit. All right, so if you're on Mac, you can skip ahead slightly in this video to where I am on the Mac. But if you're on Windows, basically once you sign up for Mac in Cloud, you'll get an email that looks something like this, and it'll also have your login details for your virtual Mac. And what you're going to do is, as it says here, there's all these instructions on how to utilize this, but basically you're going to click this link, and it's going to download this zip file, and you're going to go over to wherever that file was saved, and you're going to right click it, and you're going to click extract all, and you're going to click extract, and you'll see here that this window opens up. If it didn't, you can just click it here, and this will allow us to go ahead and run your Mac on a Windows computer. So simply by clicking any of these, this is just the resolution of the screen that the Mac will show. I'm going to go ahead and do this one because it's going to be the highest definition. And this is where you're going to enter your username and password. And now this is not the username and password that you used on sign up. This is a different username and password that was provided in the email when you signed up. So there should have been a little gray box with like your login info, and my Mac username is, apparently I have to type it. Let me see if password's grayed out. Okay, perfect. So my username is user171919, and my password is, I'm going to type it. There we go. All right, so that should authenticate us, and we should be able to log into our Mac. And should everything work good, we will be in there nice, easily, and quickly. So it's just initializing, and if this takes too long, I'll do a cut. Oh, no, we are there. Perfect. Awesome. So now we've loaded up our Mac, and this is where you can start or resume if you are, well, on a Mac. And basically what you're going to want to do is the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you are logged into your Apple ID. That's going to be the very first thing you're going to want to do. And to do that, we come over to System Preferences, and the easiest thing to do is come over to System Preferences and then come up over to Apple ID. And I'm just going to sign out so that I can show you this process. But basically, once again, you come over to System Preferences and make sure you're signed in with your Apple ID. If you're already on Mac, you should already be signed in, probably, hopefully. But if you're not, I'm just going to go ahead and sign in with my Apple ID. Okay, and then that should be my password, and you may get a verification code. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Allow. And I'll type 911761. And that will log us in, which is awesome. So once this logs me in a second, and I think I should be able to go ahead and do things in the background while it logs me in. Basically, the next step that we're going to want to do is, as it says in our guide, we want to go ahead and download what's called the Transporter app from the Mac App Store. All right, so we're going to go ahead and download this app called Transporter from the Mac App Store. And apparently we need to re-enter our password, the same one that you would have used when logging in. 397, that should be it. All right, hopefully this one works. And we are waiting. Okay, perfect, we're in. And not now, we can set that up later. So now we can see I'm in, it's loading in all of my Apple data. I use iPhone, so it's actually loading in a bunch of data. But basically, we want to come over to the Mac App Store. So you can see here, the Mac App Store icon looks like this. If you don't see it there, you can come over to Finder. So Finder, and you can come over to Applications. And as it loads in a second, it will show the different applications that are on the computer, and you can open up the Mac App Store by double clicking on it. So once you're in the Mac App Store, the first thing you're going to want to do is, if you're not signed in, make sure you're signed in. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign in again. And I'll click sign in. And that'll, well, sign me in. And then we want to download, once again, the Transporter app. Transporter. All right. So you can see here, there's this Transporter app, and what we want to do is we want to click Get, and we want to click Install. I believe it might already be installed on this, but we're about to see. You want to click Get, click Install, and see now it is downloading. So we're going to let the Transporter app download, and whether you're on a Windows virtual Mac or you're on a real Mac, it's the same process. And then you're just going to go ahead and click Open. You can read through the terms of service. I've already read them before. I'm legally obligated to tell you to read them. And then it'll say, welcome to Transporter. Fantastic. We're going to click sign in. And we are going to log in with our developer email. So that's the same email I've been using the whole time. And then we're going to click sign in. It may ask for an identification code. Oh, no, it didn't. Wonderful. So in this next step, we need to add our app. So when we click add app, it will open up to say, hey, which file would you like to upload? And this is where, if you're on Mac, it'll be really easy to simply select the IPA file that you downloaded through 22 apps. So it's called an IPA file. The Android file we uploaded was called, an APK file, but basically you would find what looks like, I'll kind of show you. And so an IPA file versus an APK file looks like this, at least on Windows, where you can see it's 22 apps dash a string of numbers dot IPA, and then 22 apps dash a long string of numbers dash signed dot APK. And an IPA file is for Apple, and an APK file is for Android. So we want to upload the .ipa file. If you don't know or it doesn't show the file extension, you can always right click, whether you're on Mac or Windows, and it will show you the type of file when you look at when you click properties or view more info on Mac. So if you're on Mac, it might be view more info. In Windows, it's called properties, and it'll show you the type of file, so you can be 100% certain that that's the IPA file for Apple, and then the APK file is for Android or Google. All right. So what we want to do now is, if you are on Mac, simply select that file. If you're on Windows, we need to do a little bit of a workaround to make all of this work. So what you're going to want to do is, for Windows users who are using Mac in Cloud or any other platform to create a virtual Mac, to upload your file, you will need to, unlike Mac users who have the luxury of simply clicking on the IPA file and uploading it, you will need to go ahead and import this file into the virtual Mac. And sadly, it's not as simple as drag and drop, but it is still pretty simple. Basically, as it says in our wonderful help article, we are going to be using a tool called WeTransfer to move that IPA file over to where we want it to be. So we're going to go ahead and come into this platform called WeTransfer, and we're going to select Add Our Files, and we can go ahead and select that file that we need. Once again, make sure it's the IPA file. And then instead of emailing it to someone, you're going to get a transfer link. So you're going to click these three dots on the bottom and select Get Transfer Link. And we're going to click Get Link. And you'll see here it'll start to upload. So once that upload process has completed, it should give us our transfer link. So we'll just wait 3 more seconds, and there we go. It's uploaded the file, and now it is going to give us our very special transfer link. So we're going to click Copy Link, and then we can come over into our Mac, and what we're going to do here is we want to come over to Safari, and then we want to go ahead and paste that link into Safari. So you can click copy on your Windows computer, and then you can click paste into Safari on Mac, and that will open up this WeTransfer link where we can simply select I agree to their terms, and then we can download our IPA file. As simple as that. So we'll go ahead and click allow, and you'll see it'll start downloading down there. We can go ahead and close Safari as we don't need it anymore. But this is where, once that finishes downloading, and you can see it finished just by that little jumpy animation, we can go ahead and select our IPA file. Now, I have a bunch of IPA files because I've been working on this quite a bit, but you should only have one, which will be much more convenient for you. So mine is -20, and I'll expand this a little bit so I can see what I'm working with. Recent, and I'll just drag it onto the desktop. So add app, desktop, -20. So you basically will upload that IPA file wherever it downloaded, and then here it will have uploaded through this service, and you can go ahead and simply click deliver. and that's going to start sending that app on over into where we wanted it to go in the first place. And we're just going to wait a couple more seconds, and then we're going to jump back into the test flight experience to be able to play around with and finish up on building our app. So it's just verifying right now. We're going to do a cut to where this finishes, and I look forward to seeing you there. Hey, awesome. So if you waited just a little bit, that will be done, and you can see that it's done because it says delivered on this time with a little nice green check mark. And how we know is we can go back over to our where we were going into Apple Store Connect, and you can go ahead and click on test flight again or refresh the page. And it should appear here if we go ahead and refresh the page. It might need us to come back and forth for a second. It looks like it's just loading. So you can see here it says version 1.0.68. That means that it's just loading in still. So basically, Apple is very restrictive of who they allow in their App Store, and so they actually have two approval processes. The first approval process is making sure that your app is what they call test flight compatible in the first place, which means that they don't even want you testing your app unless it's of reasonable quality. So that's why we normally will test with Expo before testing officially with Apple's testing platform, which is called Test Flight. But we're going to continue on for a minute because basically Apple needs to send off, by submitting to Test Flight, they're going to review your app and make sure it's all good to begin testing and all that kind of stuff. But for now, what we want to continue on with is uploading all of the information that we need for Apple. So you can see here that if we come down, there's all sorts of different things that Apple needs us to select when it comes to uploading our app. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do is, or the first thing rather, is upload our screenshots. So you can see here that it wants us to upload our screenshots for iPhone, and you can also upload them for iPad, but it's completely optional. I would actually not recommend it. Usually I just get away with using the iPhone screenshots. Though one thing you'll see right away when trying to do it the same way you did it as Google is if you come here and go ahead and just drag on your screenshots, it's going to say, hey, whoa, like these screenshots are probably the wrong dimensions. And so what you need to do is you actually have to come in and make sure that these screenshots are the right dimensions. And how we're going to go ahead and do that is by using Canva. All right. So we can first start off by clicking Learn More, and it'll actually open up this screenshots kind of dimensions window. Though the easiest thing to do, like I said, is just simply come over to Canva like we've been using before. If you need a refresher on Canva, just go ahead and click the Canva training. And we want to come up here to the top right, and we want to click Create Custom Size. And we want to copy exactly what it has shown us or given us. So what we want to do is we're going to use 1242 by 2688. So 1242 by 2688, 1242 by 2688. And we're going to click Create New Design. And then we can go ahead and simply drag our screenshots that we took right onto the canvas. And so you can see here we've added all of our screenshots, and what we want to do now is in uploads we can just drag and make sure that this matches or lines up with exactly what Apple wants. So we can go ahead and click Add Page, and we can just go ahead and add each of these screenshots and drag them to match the full width of the page. Oops. Just like this. Add page, add the image, add the page, add the image. And then once we've done that, we're gonna go ahead and click download. So we're gonna go ahead and download all 5 of these pages. And then when that's done, we are going to go ahead and save it. Though this is an important thing, is Canva will always save your files as a .zip file, and that's relevant or important because you want to right-click that .zip file and click extract all. Or you can also alternatively double-click this zip file, but then you'd want to drag or move these image files onto your desktop. Either one will work finely. Though now that we have these image files on our desktop, just like we were attempting to do before, we can go ahead and we can drag all of them onto Apple. And you'll see here it says, we'll use blah, 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 whatever. You can read that. And just like Google, we can drag them around and reorder them as we so need to. Though, unlike Google, similar to Google, Apple does require you to have screenshots for this iPhone and this one. You can see if we go ahead and click submit for review, it's like, oh, there's still a bunch of things you haven't done. And so I need to actually come in here and we need to add screenshots both for the 6.5 inch iPhone display and the 5.5 inch. So what the dimensions are, you can see here. The dimensions for this should be 1242 by 2208. And so we're gonna come back over to Canva and we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna go create a design, and we want to create a design that is, once again, 1242 by 2208. So 1242 by 2208. Okay, we're gonna click create new design. And then just same as before, we're gonna go to our upload section in Canva on the left, and we're going to do the exact same thing as before. If it's not perfectly sized, don't worry about that. You can perfectly size it if you would like to spend that time, but I'm just, for the sake of today, just trying to get everything up and done as quick as possible. So I'm going to go through and upload all my screenshots. And it looks like that's done. So we're going to go ahead and click download, and it's going to download all 5 again in a zip file. When that loads. So I'm going to go ahead and click save, and then I'm going to come over to that file and I'm going to extract it. And then you can see here that I have my nice 5 new images that I'm going to be uploading to Apple. So I'll simply highlight all of those and drag them on nice and easily, and that will appear here. So now we're done our screenshots, which is fantastic. And one thing that I'd love to show you is if you come back over to test flight, you can see here that your app is the app is actually processing now, and this may take a period of time. This may take a short while. It may take a really long while, but just know that that is now processing. The next thing we're gonna do is coming along here is add our keywords. So keywords are, as it says here, include 1 or more keywords that describe your app. Keywords make app search results more accurate. Separate keywords with an English comma, Chinese comma, or a mix of both. So basically here, you want to add a list of keywords, then it can be up to 100 characters, that kind of describe what it is your app is all about. And I generally wouldn't recommend using keywords that are like already in the title of your app. So there's no need, since my app is called the Ace Results Companion, that don't use Ace Results or Companion in your keywords. Rather, you can use a keyword like Matthew McGregor, my name. I could say marketing, I could say funnels. You can see here I've created this Matthew McGregor, comma, software, comma, funnels, comma, and so on. All right, so just you can go ahead and type in all the keywords you want. I recommend using up as much as you can so that you can get the most visibility. The next thing you're going to want to do is enter some sort of support URL. And the support URL is mandatory, but the marketing URL is optional. So you can see here, this says a URL with support information about your app. This URL will be visible on the App Store. So for me, I usually just recommend listing the contact page on your website or listing some sort of way for people to get in contact with you. So in that case, we'd go 22apps.com/contact, but it does want you to add the HTTPS. So like if we actually went 22apps/contact, you'd want to copy the URL exactly as is. So see, now it's happy because I added the HTTPS ://22apps.com/contact. In my case, I'm going to actually do support.22apps.com as my support URL, since that is the place to go to get your 22apps support. You can have a marketing URL if you want, it's optional. And then over here on the left, you can add your description. This will be the exact same app description that you used over on Google Play. So make sure you just go ahead and copy and paste that from there. Hopefully you saved it. But if you do need to access it or get it again, you can simply go over and find it. I'll actually show you real quick just to make it easier for you. So we go to the Google Play console and we go back into our development account, and then that piece of information, even though there's a lot of stuff here, you'll first want to go ahead and log into your app. So we click Ace Results Companion, and you can see all this stuff here, but where we want to go is Store Presence, and I believe it's under Main Store Listing. Yes. So if you go and scroll down to Store Presence, Main Store Listing, you can copy and paste this information from your Google app. All right. That makes it nice and easy for you. So I'm going to copy and paste my description from my Google app, which is not much, but it's something. And then what promotional text is I'll just read it to you. Promotional text lets you inform app visitors of any current app features without requiring an updated submission. This text will appear above your description on the App Store for customers with devices running iOS 11 or later, or macOS 10.13 or later. And so, long story short, what this means is if you want to update your description in your app, Apple and Android will need to review that. However, if you want to update your promotional text is this field that appears at the very top of your app listing in the App Store. And it allows you to get some kind of promotional message across really nice and easily for people who are downloading your app for the first time. So for this case, we can just put something like brand new release of the Ace Results Companion. Download it now for all new content, or something like that. You have quite a bit of characters. You have 170 characters, so definitely make use of that to get an important message across for people who are downloading your app for the first time. So once that is saved, let's go ahead and click Submit for Review and see what comes up. So it says, oh, we're unable to submit for review. You still have to do a couple of things. So if we come over to Show Details, you can see here it says, oh, first we must choose our build. You must complete the contact information section. You must do this. So again, you can always click Submit for Review and click Show Details, and it'll show you everything you still need to do before uploading your app. So let's continue. Let's come over to App Privacy. So this is where we're going to go ahead and actually use our privacy policy that we generated earlier. And just as a recap, test flight is still loading, and it may say missing compliance if you come over into test flight. And how we fix that is we can just go ahead and click manage. And just like our publishing article says, wherever our publishing article has disappeared off to, let me just go ahead and grab it again. Just like our publishing article says here, when you upload your app and submit it, it will say processing for a period of time, and then it will come up with this piece that says export compliance information. And you definitely want to read through this and just make sure for yourself legally. But in basically almost all cases, you can just go ahead and click yes, and then click yes again, as that would generally be true of most apps. So does your app use encryption? Yes. Does it meet the standards? Yes. And then we're going to click Start Internal Testing. So now our app is submitted to test flight, or ready to be tested by different people. So that is fantastic. If you would like to test your app, you can come into the test flight build, and you can go ahead and add a group of testers to be able to test the app through test flight. This is completely optional because you have your app through Expo, that you can test it directly on Expo. But if you wanted to, similar to Google, test the actual app file downloaded right on your phone, like the production version that's going to be available to the public, you can do that here. And all you have to do to test it is, again, you come over to test flight, you click here, and then you can add testers to this build by simply typing their name and email. But you do also have to come over, once you've added individual testers, you do also have to add testers to what's called the test group. And you can do that here. So I can nice and easily add that right there. I hope that helps. And what we're going to do next, though, is we're going to continue down the journey of submitting our app. So what we were working on next is the privacy policy. So we're going to come over into this section, and we're going to click Get Started. And you're going to want to answer all of these questions as best as you possibly can. So do you or your third-party partners collect data from this app? Yes, we collect data from the app. And then you can read through all this kind of stuff, and it's going to say, well, what data do you collect? Well, we collect like contact info and that kind of stuff, not so much anything else. And we're going to click Save. So it says 3 types of data where you're collecting, and then you're going to want to go ahead and fill this info in as best as you can based on what kind of info you'll be collecting in your app. So it's asking, what purposes are you going to be using this for? Well, we're going to definitely market to them, and we want to use analytics, as well as it provides a bit of app functionality if that's true for you. So definitely read through this and make sure you're giving an accurate representation of how you're using your users' data. So I'm going to click Next. Name. Are the names collected from this app linked to the user's identity? Yes. Next. Do you or third-party partners use names for tracking purposes? This basically means outside of the app. So you can see here, tracking is linked to the app for third-party targeting and this sort of stuff. So this is more for reference to third-party targeting and data. So we're going to say no, and we're going to click Save. And then same thing with email address. I'm just going to do something simple for this. But you don't necessarily, you would need to read through this in as much detail as you need to select the appropriate things. So we're just gonna go ahead and say yes, no. All right. And then we're gonna go ahead and click publish. to basically publish these responses. And you can see here, this will appear on the products page, and it is, you have to, like, by law, update your responses if this changes. So just make sure you are aware of what you've inputted and know, like, oh, if I change anything in the future, I need to update my app accordingly. So we're going to go ahead and click publish to publish our privacy responses. And then that's done, but we still need to input our privacy policy URL. So you can come over here, and we're going to paste in the exact same URL that we used before. So I'm going to come over back to 22 apps. I'm going to click privacy policy and generate now. And I totally forgot to use before, I forgot to copy down the privacy policy, but you can just go ahead and either generate a new privacy policy, or you can use the same one that you used when generating your original Google one. So I'm going to copy this, copy link, and I'm going to paste it right in there. So user privacy choices URL is optional, but you do need your privacy policy. So we're going to click save. And then we are going to go ahead and continue on in our app submission journey. So generally the easiest thing to do is simply go down and scroll through all of these pieces on the left. So we've actually completed app information. We haven't done pricing yet. We've done app privacy. Ratings and reviews should just be like any reviews that you get on your app. But we can, as always, see everything we need to submit our app for review here. So we can see we need to still choose a build. We need to complete the contact information section. We need to select a primary category. We need to choose our stuff in pricing. We need to select the level of frequency for each Apple content description. And we need to select set up all this kind of stuff. So to kind of continue on below the information that we just inputted for this version, you can see here we need to select our build. And to do that, you can just go ahead and select your build just like this. We're going to click done. And then we want to continue scrolling down, and we don't need Game Center or anything like that. If your app does have some sort of members portal where somebody's going to be needing to log in, you will need to provide that login information here, as well as your contact information for that. So you see this person should be who should be contacted if the app review team has any questions. So I'm just going to put myself, Matthew McGregor, and we're going to put our phone number and our email, and then any notes that might need to be made in order to help them go through this kind of process. And we're going to go ahead and click save to save that info. So it somehow knows our phone number is not valid, so we're going to go ahead and type 204-445-1122, and we're going to click save. And then if we go ahead and we click submit for review, it's going to still tell us that there's a bunch of stuff we still have yet to do. So the next thing that we can go ahead and do is let's go to the content rights information in app information. So if we go ahead and click app information, we can see our name of our app is Ace Results Companion. We can have a subtitle if you want. So the best place for marketing your business. That's a bit too long. Market your business online is good. And then as we kind of scroll down through this area, we'll get to the content rights section, and it's like, does it show any third-party content or not? So I'm going to select no, it does not contain any third-party content. And then we have to set the age rating as well. Does it have any of this? No, 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 no. So you can kind of just go through all of this. And then it says, does it contain unrestricted web access, such as an embedded browser? It does. This one does not. Does your app contain, and by the way, if you link outside your app, using like links in the app, you can still select no, because the web browser is not unrestricted. It should still be restricted directly to your domain unless you happen to link off to a site like Google, then you'd select yes. Does your app contain gambling? No. However, it's saying, hey, your app's age rating could be any of this, but like, do you want to restrict it to a certain audience? You can choose to restrict it to 17 plus, even though it, you know, if it's not meant or made for kids. So I'm actually going to select that, but you don't necessarily have to. It's entirely up to you. Then you're going to go over on the right side and select your app's category. So you can see here, primary category, we want to select education, and secondary category, we can select business. So once that's done, we can go ahead and click save. And as always, we come back over here and we can click submit for review, and it'll tell us what we still need to do. And so the next two things that we still need to do are right here, which is we must provide copyright information for the app we're adding, and you must choose a price tier in pricing. So I totally forgot to add the copyright information, which is still on this main page on the prepare your submission page, which is a little bit down near the app icon section. We need to add our copyright info. So as it says here, you might want to add, for example, 2008 ACME Incorporated. So we're just going to type 22 Apps Incorporated right there, and we're going to click save. And then when we click submit for review, it should show that the only thing left is our pricing. So if we come back over to pricing, and availability, we can choose our price. So we can set it to be free. We can set it to cost money. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make it free. And we're going to click save. And then once you've done that, you're basically done everything that you need to publish your app. And if I went ahead and clicked submit for review right now, it would actually submit this app for review, like for real. So I'm not going to go ahead and do that, but once you've finished all this stuff and you've reviewed it and you're happy with it, go ahead and click submit for review, and that will be sent off to Apple for review. Just know that when you click submit for review, you can't change anything in terms of all the stuff you just entered. It will be reviewed by Apple in the state that you submitted it. When you get your app approved on Apple and on Android as well, you can of course update your app as you need to through Expo, and that will instantly push an instant update to your app nice and easily, so that your app is always up to date with the latest info. Though when it comes to actually submitting to Google and submitting to Apple, all of this info that you just entered is what they are going to be seeing. So make sure that you are happy with it before you click the submit button. But when you are, just go ahead and click submit for review, and that will again submit your app for review. In the next video, I am going to be talking about once you've gotten your app approved, or whether it's disapproved or approved, I'm going to be covering those things in future videos on how to do instant updates and just have a really fantastic experience moving forward with 22 apps. This has been how to upload your app to Apple. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group and having success very soon.